Oh yeah.
Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
I'm okay, thank you. Can you turn your volume up a bit?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better. Thank you. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Brilliant, brilliant. Um, why I'd asked you back for it is because I want to talk to you about something that you were covering me about because it's been Mental Health Week all this week. Okay. Um, what's it like? What's it like growing up where you are, and and knowing that there's people around you who has mental health problems.
I would say where I live at specifically, mental health is definitely talked about, and the school systems here and things like that, they definitely do talk about mental health a lot, and it's not something that's glossed over, nor is it something that's stigmatized like it is in other areas of the country. But I definitely do not think it is talked about enough. I mean, you can talk about it, but there's no action that's really being
Mm,
put towards it. They're like, take care of your mental health and then drown you in homework and then kind of get mad at you when you're not on top of your stuff. But then they're talking about mental health. So it doesn't really correlate sometimes.
the trouble is, though, people don't want to talk about it because, it's, as you say, it's like a stigma behind it. And the trouble is, if you kind of like, if you got kind of like a mental health problem, they're thinking, oh, don't come near me because they think you might catch it. You know what I mean? And I know some people who think that if you've got a mental health problem, you think, oh well, they're nuts, they're crazy, all sorts.
Exactly. And I think that's really harmful, especially when, this is people's lives that we're talking about. And it's really just, disrespectful to kind of downplay what they're going through because it makes us uncomfortable when they have to live with it. So it's just like, just being supportive and being there and being genuine is really the proper steps you need to take rather than being judgmental because this is something that, people have to live with daily.
Yeah. What's it like over where you are? Because you're still young, and what's it like around where with all your friends and everything? What do they think of mental health?
Um, I would say, it's talked about and things like that. I feel like people really accept it over here. It's not stigmatized or anything. You're not going to be made fun of for it or anything. I feel like it's a very, accepting environment and, you're heard.
Yeah, yeah. The trouble is, though, when you kind of like, what happened to me was that I commit one time I committed suicide, and I was taken away, was sectioned under the Mental Health Act, taken away, and um, I had to go to a unit and to sort myself out because I had depression, and I felt really suicidal. And the trouble is, when somebody finds out about that, they think, oh well, he's a bit crazy, he's a bit nuts, and all like that. And but it's not, the, with mental health, it's all sorts of under one umbrella. There's different kinds of mental health problems.
Exactly. And, you know, it's just kind of a lot because I feel like the world is very judgmental with many things. And because the world is so judgmental with many things, they feel as if it's appropriate to be judgmental with everything. And that's kind of the problem when people are just so used to judging others for so many things. And then it gets to the point where you're judging others for things that they can't control and things that are real life struggles. And it's really ignorant.
Yeah, yeah. Because the trouble is, see, with like anything with like stigma or anything, it soon Men, I was reading something the other day, men are more silent. They don't like talking about mental health, but women, they're quick, they will talk about it. You know what I mean?
I completely understand what you mean. And
Because they think, that we're going to be kind of like, what can I say? We're supposed to be the macho ones and all that lot.
yeah, and I feel like that stigma is kind of still prevalent. I don't want to say necessarily where I live, but I would just want to say like in society, like, boys don't cry and all of that type of stuff. I feel like it's very, very normalized and it's harmful, obviously, because, everyone has emotions and that's not gender based or sex based at all. And that whole notion of boys don't cry and tough it up and act like a man, like, that just causes you to keep everything on the inside and not take care of yourself because society sees it as weakness when emotions are just normal.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, well done. Um, have you kind of, do you know anybody who is kind of like committed suicide or who's been to that point?
Yeah, actually, I know someone that I grew up with, their dad committed suicide. It was a very, very sad situation, especially since that was his father and now he doesn't have a father anymore. And it's just really complex and very sad because I grew up with them and around them and I never would have expected that to happen at all. It was very, very, out of nowhere. And it really just makes you think to check up on everyone, no matter how happy they look, how content they look with life, how things look like they must be going great, because obviously that wasn't the case. And it seemed like it was, but it wasn't.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to show you this video.
You got quite a harsh backlash on social media, didn't you?
Yes, we do. We got a lot of it, especially on Twitter and on Facebook. On my Facebook page, it was at a place where it was just kind of like security for porridge or pizza breaks in the morning, and then it goes on to like dinner time where we can have like that. That's healthy, you know what I mean? So
not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, no one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us. Oh, we are glorious. When the sharp words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send the blood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Another round of bullets, it's my skin. Well, fire away, 'cause today I won't let the truth in. We are bursting through the barricades and reaching for the sun. That's what we do. Won't let them break me down. I know that there's a place for us. Oh, we are glorious. The sharpest light wanna cut me down. I'm gonna send the blood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apology. This is me. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send the blood, gonna drown them out. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me. This is me.
There you go. Why I wanted to show you that really is because when people got like um, anything with do with mental health or probably sometimes they tend to kind of like hide away, they hide away and they kind of like they don't tell anybody. They just like to hide away in a little row, and they're afraid to come out because if they see them, kind of like how mental health has affected them, they probably could lose friends or relationships. What do you think about that?
I really liked the video, especially, the music that went with it and the slideshow and the interview that you did and just the beginning also, like when it was telling your story. I did not know a lot of that stuff, and I'm glad that I know that now.
Oh,
And,
thank you. Thank
you
you.
know, I'm glad that you've gone through all of that and, used some of those darkest moments in your life to shed light on it and to bring brightness into not only your life but other people's lives. I think that's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I just do it because I've been through quite a bit in my life, and I just kind of like want. This is why I'm doing this. I want to help other people. It's like several times when you've been on. I've had like, uh, well, I'll tell you how many people we got listening at the moment. We got around about 4,000 people listening at the moment.
Oh wow.
And what happens is every time we talk about mental health or talk about anything, we have what you call the people on standby. We have counsellors on standby because they go into like counselling and everything because they need to be. Some people need to be spoken to. You know what I mean? Because they feel that they've been through a lot. But the trouble is with anything when a person is going through like a bad time in their life, they come to a point, they come to like a wall, and they think, "Oh, I can't go. I'm not going to go through this. I can't. It's a waste of time. It's going to happen to me again." It's like it's like having a first boyfriend, in my case, girlfriend, right? Then losing them. Do you get me? Have you ever experienced that? You had a boyfriend, and then all of a sudden, you had your first boyfriend, and all of a sudden, that he's gone.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So you have your first boyfriend, so he's gone, and it's like your first love, isn't it? Do you
Hmm.
get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and it's like anything, and sometimes we go through problems. So we have problems in our life where we go to that war and we think, like, we can't go on the war, and what we need to do is break that wall down and break all the problems that we've got in our life down. I know it's difficult, and kind of like keep on our journey. And I've seen people like 20, 16, who actually ended their life because they couldn't, they thought that, because they lost their relationships or because there's things in their life that's happened that they can't go on into their life no more.
Yeah. I've seen that happen. And, I've seen it happen to the full extreme to suicide. And I've also just seen it happen, just tear down people's mental well being and like just deteriorate it. And it's really sad and disheartening. And I just love to see when people do get through times like that and come out stronger because
Hmm.
that's incredible because there's so many people that did not get out of things like that. And it's unfortunate, but there's so many resources now that can help. And I'm glad that the world is kind of revolving towards a more, inclusive mental health type setting rather than shunning and, don't talk about it type notion.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I remember going to a men's group years ago now. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. I'm getting old. Um, but the trouble is, so it's like I went to a men's group and they were talking about their problems, and I'm thinking, hang on for a sec, I don't want to be here for that, because I don't want to know people, I don't want to know them, you know. And they were all crying. They were coming out and asking for help and everything. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And they were all in tears and everything, and they were just letting things go. But there are some men out there who can't kind of like they have problems and thinking, oh well, I'm macho and all that, nothing wrong with me, you know.
Yeah, and that's kind of hard to get out of, especially when you like grew up in an environment where that mindset was like pushed onto you. Even though you can be here in 2021 where it's like, it's okay to show your emotions and we're here to help you. It's really hard to kind of be vulnerable when you grew up in a mindset of I can't let anyone know how I'm feeling or else I'm weak. I mean, it's hard to break down those barriers, even though it's so socially acceptable now. When you grow up a certain way, it's hard to break habits with anything. So,
Mm.
especially with that and being emotionally vulnerable.
How do you cope if you're suffering with like either depression or problems? How do you cope?
Um, Usually I have this whole thing where for me personally, nothing really upsets me for too long. And that's kind of, a blessing within itself. But whenever things do upset me, I usually just, take a step back and really focus on myself and let go of all the things that were stressing me out. Like, even if I had a ton of homework due, like, I'm just focused on me and how I'm feeling right now because, I'm the only me, and how I'm feeling affects how everything else in my life goes. So if I'm not feeling okay, then this homework that I need to do isn't going to be done to the best of its ability. And this conversation I need to have with this person isn't going to go well because I'm not doing well. So I usually just, really internalize that and focus on myself to the point where I'm nurturing myself to feel better.
Yeah, yeah. I never used to like homework. When I was given homework, I used to pay somebody to do it for me. But that's another story. But the trouble is, also, because how old are you? Sorry, I'm not asked. How old are you now?
How old am I?
Yeah.
16. I turned 17 in June.
Okay. So, see, the trouble is, I've had you on here now for a few times now, and I think you have got a lot of strength, encouragement to give to people and help people. See, that's how you come across. Do you think the same?
I would hope so. I do feel the same. I hope that, I'm kind of
And
giving
for
that
six, I'm not trying
encouragement.
to be funny, but for a 16-year-old young lady, that is awesome to have because there are some 15 or 16 people out there thinking, oh well, life is going to be, and they get a bottle, don't they, or and they do other things and they forget about their life. They think, oh, I'm not going to do my own work. But you just kind of like think, this is me. I'm going to kind of like, knuckle down and, because, and you got it all together. How do you do that as a youngster? Because, when I was a youngster, I couldn't do anything hardly. I just went out and messed about.
There's really no secret. I'm just naturally very organized and I just try to get a bunch of stuff done. A go-getter. So, I guess I would say the only thing that really helps me like actually do things is having a calendar and writing things down. If I didn't have my calendar, then I don't know what I would be doing right now because I cannot remember things. So, a calendar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was, because you're doing your exams at the moment, are you? Is it your
Um,
exam?
Actually, most of the schools in the US are canceling finals due to COVID. So I do not have any final exams. We're just kind of ending the school year, and my last day of school is next Friday.
So what? So hope you don't mind me mentioning this because this comes on to what I was going to say next. What's it like? Because people in this country too, children in this country too, were open to take their exams and they can't take their exams because of COVID. So what do what do you think? Because at the end of the day, you're going to miss out, aren't you?
Um, I don't think so. Like at least here the grading scale is the same. The only difference is that we're just not taking finals. So, if anything, it was beneficial. So I don't have to cram all of that work back into my brain from, the beginning of the semester. So I don't really know how it works at other schools, but at my school specifically, the grades work the same, so it doesn't necessarily help or hurt.
Okay. And when you leave school, because is it next Thursday? Is it? You're going to leave school next Thursday?
Next Friday.
Next Friday. So what you going to do? Got any plans?
Over the summer, I'm just planning on focusing on, work stuff and enjoying my free time. School was very, very draining this year. Being online and all that type of stuff really takes a hit on your mental health.
Right. Okay. And also, what have you got planned for the future? Are you going to go to university or?
Yeah, that is the plan. And, I'm starting my college applications now and hoping to, get into the colleges I want to get into.
Brilliant. And how's your podcast doing?
My podcast is doing great. We are on a current break until summer because I'm taking a lot of tests for school right now. It's not necessarily finals, but, teachers are trying to cram in all of this work before school ends. So the podcast does not have any episodes as, releasing right now, but it will. once school is over next week.
Good. I'm not going to take no more time of time. Right. But thank you very much for coming back on. I love you having coming back on because I'm getting old man, see, and you're a young person, and I like getting your perspective on things. You know what I mean? You know,
Thank you so much.
because you're, even though that you still got a long way to go until you reach around about 100 like me. Quit
Yeah.
laughing at.
I'm not laughing. I'm just smiling.
I'm getting old. I'm getting old. No, I'm only
Not
joking.
that old.
No, I'm only joking. No. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me again. I love having you on, and you're really good. Um,
Of course. Thank you for having me.
and don't forget, behave yourself and start kind of like doing your own work.
Yeah, I will make sure.
Make sure because your parents are so. You know what parents are like, don't you?
Yes, I do, unfortunately.
Do you have strict parents?
No, my parents aren't strict, but they do have high expectations, but I have high expectations for myself, so it's not like a burden.
See, that's what I like about you, because you got high expectations about yourself. You care about yourself, and that's really good. Anyway, speak to you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. There you go. Thank you very much, and thank you for watching. I'm going to be back about 11 o'clock. See you later. Bye bye.